What's going on, my friends? It's your buddy the Nerdy Husky here, welcoming you to Geeky Gluttony Episode 3. I'm going to have a slight shift in the series where instead of finding things out in the wild, I'm just going to cook it. We're going to be cooking stuff here. I have a cooking show now. I'm copying everybody on the internet. Anyway, today's recipe is coming to us from The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, and it is in fact Yeto's Pumpkin and Cheese Soup. Now, while doing research for this, I found that Nintendo actually put out a recipe for this particular soup, so I figured, let's make it.
In one of the later dungeons in Twilight Princess, the Snow Peak Ruins, you're tasked with helping Yeto cook a soup for his wife, who's unfortunately sick. He uses ingredients such as reek fish, Ordon pumpkin, and Ordon goat cheese. Thankfully, the recipe we have today leaves out the reek fish. Luckily, the pumpkin and the goat cheese wheel can be found around the dungeon. So as you explore the dungeon for your own goals, you're helping Yeto make the perfect soup. To make this superb soup, these are the ingredients you're gonna need.
Gonna need sweet unsalted butter, gonna have some celery, some carrot, garlic, medium-sized onion. We have some canned pumpkin, and no, it's not the real thing. Pumpkins are out of season right now, but I got something cool planned for pumpkins later on. Dark brown sugar, we have a can of evaporated milk. The recipe calls for half and half, but I'm using heavy cream. Vegetable broth, we have salt, pepper, using goat's cheese as our cheese here, and a little bit of the Hyrule herb, which is more commonly known as Italian parsley. And there's one more ingredient that I forgot to say, cinnamon. So.
Alright, so the first thing that we want to do is we want to get our vegetables diced and ready to be sautéed. Watch your fingers while dicing, and remember that there's no shame to succumbing to an onion's antics.
Oh, God. Okay. I hate this.
After we've dried our eyes, we go back for the second half of the onion and,
Make sure to just have a couple of your tears fall into your food so that way they can be salted appropriately. Oh, God.
Next up is our carrot. We're going to make sure to wash, peel, and cut the ends off of the carrot, cutting the carrot in half if it's as massive as this one is. When you're dicing up the carrot, you don't need to worry too much about the pieces being the exact same size here, as the vegetables in this soup will ultimately be blended. If we weren't blending the soup, then it would matter a little more, but anyway. You guys want to check out a magic trick? Check this out. Boom. Double celery. Anyway, cutting 2 stalks of celery should equate to about 1 cup, but have a third stalk on hand for just in case. Worst comes to worst, you can snack on some of the pieces, so that's a thing.
So now that we have a cup of celery, a cup of carrots, and a whole medium onion, we're going to go ahead and saute this. I don't have a Dutch oven, so I'm going to be using just a small cooking pot. Not a small, a large. Cool. Now while we're waiting for that to heat up, I have that on medium heat here. Use the garlic of a bulb I've already started. It says 2 cloves, but let's be real. Usually means 3 or 4 even. I think there's actually 2 here. Oh, there's actually 5 here. So, let's go ahead and
cutting the end off of the bulb of garlic and placing it under the side of your knife. Apply force directly down to crush the garlic. This will help you remove the skin a lot easier. It'll also simplify the dicing of the garlic. So dice the garlic, wipe the garlic off the side of the blade, dice it some more, wipe it some more. I even tried to implement a 2-knife strategy here, but all that did was annoy my camera woman.
Now we're going to need 2 tablespoons from the stick of butter we already started. Noticing a theme today?
Okay, so we're going to let the butter melt over medium heat here. As it starts to melt, we're going to add our vegetables, so those can start to saute while the butter continues to melt. You want to keep this over medium heat. We're going to let it saute for about 5 minutes.
Gently caress the butter with the spoon. It's okay, little guy. It'll all be over soon. Alright, so after that's simmered for about 5 minutes, we're going to get the garlic. Time to add all of that delightful garlic. Stir that in. And we're gonna let this simmer for about 5 more minutes.
How long?
5. A blue rupee's worth. One of the lessons that I learned from watching all these different cooking shows is like, while your vegetables are cooking, you still want it to sizzle. Because if they're sizzling, that means they're cooking and not steaming. So, you hear the sizzle, you know it's going well. Alright, so, now that 5 minutes has elapsed, you can see we're getting some good color on that, and some of the vegetables in there. Let's go ahead and add our 1 quart of vegetable broth. Basically, we're going to want to get this to a boil, stirring occasionally, and then bring it back down to a simmer. Should be a good time, if there's any like fond on the bottom, to scrape that out. So we'll bring this up to a boil. Once it's up to a boil, we'll reduce it to a simmer, and then we'll let it simmer for about 10 minutes, and then we can move on to the next step. So, 10 minutes have passed. So you're going to want to add the pumpkin. Or canned pumpkin. I know. I'll use a real pumpkin next time once they're in season. Basically, you're going to want to mix that pumpkin in there, and we're also going to add 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon. Once that's all good and mixed up, then this bad boy is going to be simmering for 15 minutes. Yeah, it's been about 15 minutes, so what we're going to need to do now is we're going to need to transfer that soup into this blender in batches so we can blend it up real good. So what I'm going to do, I've taken it off the heat, going to put it in this, and as we're done blending it, we're going to pop it back in there. Don't pour it towards yourself. It's not going well.
You're doing great.
I get it all over myself.
It doesn't look like it.
No. Just the counter. Oh, I got it on the floor! How did I do that? That's where everything just goes to hell. Okay, well. Okay. I didn't even need to dirty this at all. But I did.
Yeah, you did. Did you see the way you had to pour from the pot to the bowl?
It's all about the soup.
It's what?
All about the soup. This is not going to go well, is it?
It's gonna go fine. Just don't blend it like super hard.
Well, that didn't work. That soup is hot. Let's just do how much soup got on the floor. Oh my god, I should probably clean up this, huh? This part of it all. Just, why are you filming?
Now with that catastrophe taken care of, we blend the rest of the soup in multiple batches now, and then it gets poured back into the pan that we cooked it in.
Okay, so now that we've made a mess, we just have to add the rest of the ingredients, which is going to be 2 tablespoons of dark brown sugar,
Our can of evaporated milk,
1/2 cup of half and half, except I'm using heavy cream because...
Next up is the goat cheese.
Oh yeah, bud. Good look at that. I can't open it.
Yeah.
Nope. Look at that. That's the good stuff, huh? That crumbled goat cheese. What's it taste like? It's not bad. Alright, we're gonna put most of it in so we can have some left over for some garnish.
To this, we're going to use some freshly ground black pepper and a good pinch of kosher salt.
So we're gonna let this cook for a little bit, and then we're gonna come back for the plating. It's a good life lesson too. Always taste the food that you're making, because if it tastes bad to you, it's gonna taste bad to others, probably. Ooh, Oh, that's good.
Now for plating, we're going to go ahead and ladle some of the soup into a bowl, on top of which we're going to add some goat cheese as a little bit of garnish here. I was feeling fancy, so I did a little swirl of heavy cream. And we're just going to use the Hyrule herb as a bit of a garnish here.
There we go. Yeto's pumpkin and cheese soup. As seen, well, sort of as seen, as in Twilight Princess, there was the reek fish that they were supposed to use, but I can't source reek fish, and I don't know what kind of fish will go well with that. It's actually really good. I've never had goat cheese before, so I didn't know how it was going to work well with the soup, but came out really well. So yeah, like I said, I don't know what kind of fish I would put in here. Can't source reek fish. It's not real. Or maybe it is. Somebody in the comments will correct me. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you're new around here, make sure you hit that sub button, hit the like button, tell your friends about it. If you have any suggestions for foods to make in the future, leave it in the comment below. I guess check out these other videos that I made wherever I put them on the screen. And stay awesome. Don't do anything I wouldn't do, and I will catch you next time.